Imagine this, just 1 hour a day, 60 minutes, dedicated to your goals, your dreams, your personal growth. It might not sound like much, but over time it has the power to transform your entire life. Think of the time we often lose, scrolling on social media, watching one more episode, doing things that don't bring us closer to who we want to be. But what if you reclaimed just 1 hour a day for yourself? 1 hour to learn a skill, 1 hour to write a book, 1 hour to exercise, meditate, reflect, or build a business. That's 365 hours a year. That's over 9 full work weeks you can invest in yourself without quitting your job or radically changing your lifestyle. The difference between where you are and where you want to be isn't always a big leap. Sometimes it's a consistent, focused effort, just 1 hour a day. Let today be the day you decide to own that hour. Not for anyone else, but for you, because 1 hour a day can truly change your life. One of the most underestimated forces in personal growth and success is consistency. People often overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can accomplish in a year through daily effort. When you commit just 1 hour a day to something meaningful, whether it's learning a language, writing a novel, studying a subject, or improving your fitness, you initiate a process that builds powerful momentum over time. Imagine trying to push a car from a standstill. At first, it's incredibly difficult. Your muscles strain, your feet dig into the ground, and the car barely moves. But once the car begins to roll, the resistance decreases. It gets easier to push, and the car gains speed. That's how momentum works in life too. At the beginning, your daily hour might feel slow or unproductive. You may not see immediate results, and that can be discouraging. But what you're really doing in those early days is training your mind and body to show up regardless of mood, circumstances, or distractions. You're laying the foundation for a habit that will sustain you in the long term. Consistency also sends a clear message to your subconscious. This matters to me. That message reprograms how you think about yourself. You begin to view yourself as someone who takes action, someone who follows through. That subtle identity shift is crucial. It fuels more motivation, leading to more effort and ultimately more results. Moreover, consistent effort builds compound interest in your skills and knowledge. Just as money in a savings account grows exponentially over time, so do the benefits of showing up every single day. An hour of practice today builds on yesterday's progress. Eventually, the things that once took you a full hour might take 30 minutes. Then you can double your output, or use that time to deepen your learning. The growth becomes exponential. Consistency removes the need for perfection. You don't need to have extraordinary talent or resources. You just need to show up daily and do the work. Over time, that simple act repeated again and again transforms effort into excellence and discipline into mastery. Time, much like money, is one of our most valuable resources. But unlike money, once it's spent, we can't earn it back. However, when used wisely and intentionally, time has a compounding effect that can yield exponential rewards over months and years. Think of it this way: if you invested just $1 every day into a high yield account, over time that money would grow, not only from your daily deposits, but from the interest those deposits earn. The same principle applies to the time you invest in yourself. 1 hour a day might not seem like much in isolation, but over the course of a year, it adds up to 365 hours. That's more than 9 full-time 40-hour work weeks. And if you stay consistent for 5 years, that's over 1,800 hours, or the equivalent of more than a full academic year of college education. This cumulative effect is powerful because each hour builds upon the last. When you read 1 hour a day, your understanding of the subject deepens with each session. When you work out 1 hour a day, your body grows stronger and adapts. When you practice a skill daily, coding, drawing, public speaking, you don't just maintain your ability, you steadily increase your competence inch by inch. Eventually, the growth becomes not just linear but accelerated, as past effort begins to reinforce future progress. Most people fail to recognize this because they look for immediate gratification, but compound growth is not about what happens overnight, it's about what happens when you give something time. Just like you wouldn't expect a planted seed to become a tree in a week, You shouldn't expect instant results from personal growth, but if you consistently water your hour each day, you'll eventually find yourself standing under the shade of something strong and lasting. This is how authors write books while working full-time jobs, one page a day. It's how people learn new languages, master instruments, build businesses, and change their health, one deliberate hour at a time. The secret isn't in finding more time, it's in compounding the time you already have by treating your time like an investment. With the same seriousness and intention you would treat your money, you set yourself up for long-term success. The earlier you start and the more consistently you deposit your hours, the more dramatically your return will grow over time. Spending 1 hour a day on something is powerful, but what you spend that hour on matters just as much as how consistently you do it. That's why focusing on high-impact activities is essential. These are the tasks that produce significant results, far beyond the time or effort they require. They create ripple effects, setting off a chain reaction that elevates multiple areas of your life at once. High-impact activities are different for everyone, but they share a few common traits. They are intentional, they are aligned with your long-term goals, and they create progress that lasts. Reading a self-improvement book, exercising, learning a new skill, meditating, journaling, or building a business. All of these can be high impact, depending on your goals. Consider the difference between passive and active use of time. Spending an hour watching random videos online might feel like a break, but it rarely contributes to lasting growth. On the other hand, spending an hour learning how to market your business, or practicing your craft, or studying a topic related to your career, those activities build your capabilities. They position you for opportunity, advancement, and fulfillment. 1 hour of focused, high-value effort each day can open doors that would remain closed otherwise. It's also important to understand that not all productive-looking tasks are truly impactful. Many people fall into the trap of staying busy, responding to emails, organizing to-do lists, tweaking minor details, without actually moving closer to their goals. That's the difference between motion and progress. High-impact activities are those that directly push the needle forward. They may be challenging, uncomfortable, or require deep concentration, but they are the ones that truly matter. The key is to be deliberate with your hour. Before you start, ask yourself, will this bring me closer to where I want to be? If the answer is yes, you're on the right path. Over time, the accumulation of focused hours creates a body of work, a new set of skills, a transformed body or mindset, something tangible and meaningful. By dedicating your time to high-impact actions, you're not just staying busy. You're building a life of purpose. You're aligning daily actions with your deepest values and ambitions. That kind of focus doesn't just change your day, it reshapes your future. One of the greatest obstacles to achieving personal growth and meaningful goals is the feeling of overwhelm. When we look at the big picture, whether it's writing a book, starting a business, losing weight, earning a degree, or mastering a new skill, it can seem intimidating, even impossible. The sheer scale of the task can paralyze us, making it hard to take even the first step. But when we commit to just 1 hour a day, we break that mountain into manageable pieces, reducing stress and making progress feel realistic. Overwhelm often comes from trying to do too much at once or believing we have to make huge changes overnight. This all-or-nothing mindset is a trap. It convinces us that if we can't dedicate entire days or weeks to a goal, then it's not worth starting at all. But that's simply not true. Massive change is the result of small, consistent actions, not one-time heroic efforts. By focusing on just 1 hour, we give ourselves a clear, achievable target that sidesteps procrastination and perfectionism. This approach also helps to quiet the mental chatter that often surrounds big goals. Instead of asking, "How will I ever finish this?" you only have to ask, "What can I do today in the next 60 minutes?" That mental shift creates clarity. It brings your focus into the present moment, where action is possible. You don't need to solve the whole puzzle right away. You just need to place one piece. Moreover, when you train yourself to approach large goals in daily segments, you begin to develop a rhythm. This rhythm becomes part of your lifestyle. You no longer need to rely on bursts of motivation or wait for the perfect moment because the routine itself carries you forward. Each hour becomes a building block. Each block makes the next one easier to place. Over time, this reduces decision fatigue and mental clutter, giving you more energy to devote to doing rather than overthinking. What's remarkable is how quickly this shift in perspective can change your relationship with your goals. Instead of feeling crushed by the weight of everything you haven't done, you begin to feel empowered by everything you are doing. You start to see tangible progress, you gain confidence. And the overwhelming project that loomed like a mountain now looks like a series of steps you know you can take. By breaking your journey into daily 1-hour commitments, you simplify the process and reframe success as something that's within your reach, not someday, but starting today. Committing to just 1 hour a day may sound simple, but the act of showing up consistently, even when it's inconvenient or you're not in the mood, requires discipline. And discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. What begins as a small daily effort to stay on track can evolve into a deep internal strength that affects every area of your life. Each time you choose to dedicate that hour, whether to learning, building, improving your health, or working on your passion, you are reinforcing the belief that your goals matter. More importantly, you are reinforcing the belief that you matter. Every small promise you keep to yourself is a signal to your subconscious mind that you are someone who follows through. That quiet, internal message is powerful. Over time, it cultivates self-respect, confidence, and personal pride, core elements of strong self-worth. Discipline is not about being hard on yourself. It's about creating boundaries and structure so that you can move forward with intention rather than impulse. When you block off 1 hour a day for something meaningful, you're saying, "This is my time, this is my priority." And in a world full of distractions, where it's easier than ever to lose focus, that kind of clarity becomes a superpower. Think about how most people treat their goals. They start with good intentions but fall off track because they wait for the perfect mood or ideal circumstances. But disciplined people understand that success is not based on feelings, it's based on decisions. It's not about doing something when it's easy, it's about doing it even when it's not. That daily hour becomes a form of practice, not just in the skill or task itself, but in mastering your own mindset. As your discipline grows, so does your self-trust. You begin to rely on yourself in a deeper way. You know that even when life gets busy or hard, you have the ability to carve out time to focus, to act. That's an empowering realization. It changes how you see yourself, not as someone who hopes to improve someday, but as someone actively shaping their life every single day. And with each day that you show up, you reinforce your value. You demonstrate to yourself and others that your dreams are worthy of time and effort. You begin to walk with more certainty, speak with more purpose, and live with more intention, because you know you are keeping your word to the most important person in your life, you. Transformation often feels like a mystery. We see others who seem to have reinvented themselves, whether it's in their careers, health, mindset, or lifestyle, and we wonder how they did it. The truth is, real transformation is not sudden. It doesn't come from inspiration alone or one grand decision. It comes from a series of small, intentional steps repeated consistently. Committing just 1 hour a day to focused, meaningful work is one of the most effective ways to create a clear and achievable path to transformation. The idea of change can be overwhelming when we only look at the end goal. Whether it's becoming a published author, launching a business, learning a new profession, or completely shifting your mindset, the destination can feel distant and vague. But when you decide to invest an hour a day into that vision, you stop dreaming and start doing. That hour is a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Over time, this hour becomes more than just a time block. It becomes your personal transformation engine. It becomes a sacred space in your day where progress is made, habits are shaped, and clarity is developed. Each session adds a brick to the path ahead, making the journey not just visible, but walkable. The fog that once surrounded your goals starts to clear because now you're not just thinking about change, you're actively participating in it. Another powerful element of this approach is that daily effort naturally builds structure and momentum. You begin to identify patterns, what works, what doesn't, where you thrive, and where you struggle. This feedback loop allows you to adjust, improve, and grow intelligently. You're not just hoping for change, you're engineering it through deliberate action. With each hour, your direction sharpens. With each step, the destination feels closer. Furthermore, working consistently for 1 hour a day helps cultivate resilience. Some days, progress may feel slow or invisible, but when you commit regardless, you build the emotional and mental toughness required for real transformation. Change is rarely linear. There are plateaus, detours, and obstacles. But with a daily practice in place, you always have a foundation to return to, a place where movement is still happening, no matter how small. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't require you to put your life on hold. You don't need to abandon your responsibilities or make radical sacrifices. You just need to carve out 1 hour, an intentional, focused hour that belongs solely to your growth. When you do that, you create more than just progress. You create proof. You begin to see evidence that change is possible, that goals are within reach, and that a new version of yourself is steadily emerging. In a world that often feels chaotic, fast-paced, and filled with distractions, one of the most empowering realizations you can have is that you are not powerless. You can take control. Committing just 1 hour a day to intentional growth is a quiet yet revolutionary act. It's a declaration that you are not just a passenger in your life, but the one steering the wheel. That hour becomes your way of reclaiming agency over your time, your choices, and ultimately, your future. Many people go through life reacting to circumstances rather than designing the life they want to live. They're pulled in different directions by work demands, social obligations, and endless notifications. In that constant state of reaction, it's easy to lose touch with your deeper desires, your dreams, your purpose, your values. But when you dedicate an hour a day to something that truly matters to you, you begin to shift that dynamic. You start responding with intention instead of reacting out of habit. This sense of control is not about rigid schedules or perfectionism. It's about alignment. It's about knowing that no matter what else happens in your day, you made space for what matters most. That's incredibly empowering. It changes how you feel about yourself and how you show up in the world. You start to see yourself not as someone who's stuck or waiting for circumstances to change, but as someone who is actively creating change 1 hour at a time. Taking control of your life also means learning to say no, no to distractions, to time, wasters, to things that don't align with your goals. That 1 hour becomes a symbol of your boundaries and priorities. It's time you guard fiercely because you know it's connected to something bigger than a task or routine. It's tied to your vision of the life you want, and the ripple effects are profound. When you take control in one area, confidence begins to spill over into others. You start eating better, managing stress more effectively, communicating more clearly, making better financial decisions, or pursuing healthier relationships, not because someone told you to, but because you feel more capable and in charge. You recognize your power to choose, to act, to redirect the course of your life whenever you decide to. In essence, that one daily hour is about much more than productivity. It's about ownership. It's your way of saying, I may not control everything, but I control this. I control how I show up. I control what I give my time and energy to. I control what I build today. That mindset, repeated daily, becomes the foundation of lasting confidence, peace, and purpose.